very much, Jakob. Thank you also, Guido Sonnemann. I think this was a very useful presentation to kind of remind all of us on some of the bigger context that we have for discussing these issues. Good morning, everyone, and I'm very happy to have all of you here and also to see so many familiar faces that have been part of this, I would now actually say, growing community of people, initiatives, experts, practitioners, also environmental organizations, government organizations, and so on, that are participating in our common joint dialogues. And I would like to use the opportunity now to, and I always do this, and many of you know that already, to help us remind like what kind of interaction we are seeking here at the forum. One thing is the whole PCF World Forum actually grew out of recognition of growing initiatives around the world that are active in the field of product carbon footprinting, but also consumer communication and related activities. And a lot of times, and we were also involved in that in the past, we kind of said, okay, well, there's something happening in France, in the US, there's something happening in the UK, and we very often prematurely make judgments. What is happening there? How is that? Do we like that? Don't we like that? What shall we do about that? And sometimes what is missing on that international level, especially in a growing field like this, is actually to talk with each other instead of just talking about each other. So this forum shall be now and in the future, and I think it has been, an opportunity to actually engage with each other and to learn from each other. It's a joint platform in that regard to really bring together the activities that we see around the world. I think we still have a task in bringing some other countries to the table. We have had large representation from Asian countries also, from Korea in the past, Japan at all of the summits definitely, Thailand and more. And we have also had participants even from countries like Iran, which might surprise us, but which also have an interest, obviously, in this topic. But still, and this is, I think, a known thing, there's still the definite requirement to make this even more international, to bring even more voices to the table, although we already have a lot here, especially from Europe and North America, naturally. But this is one of the efforts that we seek. The forum discussions are about also linking our activities to the bigger picture that is reducing greenhouse gas emissions in this case value chains. This is related to global climate change issues, and as we know, climate change is linked to a lot of other issues as well that are very much interrelated, like even biodiversity issues and others. So I think it makes sense to have that connection in mind and think of very useful and practical approaches on that. I would like to encourage you to use the forum in a very respectful, interested way, to engage with each other and have like an open mind to really say, okay, what can I learn from you? What can I learn from you? And then integrate that back. We know that there are a lot of very good activities out there, and also have the feeling that like bringing more of this together and some of the very good thinking behind of individual activities can help to actually stimulate a much broader impact and also results in on climate change and greenhouse gas emission reductions in value chains. Sorry. So the title of the fourth PCF World Summit is From Standardization to Communication, and we haven't just taken any title. This has we have put some thought in this definitely, and I would like to quickly go back a bit what happened over the past 3 years, 4 years in that issue, and kind of how the debate evolved, at least from my perspective, from our perspective, and I'm sure there are others on the table, but it's I think a very interesting, or it's helpful to think back to how some of the broader debate emerged. And in 2007, I think we have to somehow acknowledge that, or definitely acknowledge that. We saw first activities by the Carbon Trust in the UK on measuring greenhouse gas emissions in the value chain. What you see here is, I think it's very difficult to read this, but it's a very early draft of the methodology, which was still like a working document for the Carbon Trust internally, which they used to underpin the first pilots in carbon labeling also. And of course, this is not where all of it started, but this is where a lot of the debate started. I'm saying this with the awareness, and I think we have that very much also represented in the room, that of course measuring greenhouse gas emissions along value chains of goods and services is nothing new in itself. It has been part of life cycle assessment before, and methodologies have been drafted in that sense. But what has had a new quality to it was how to use it in a very straightforward, practical way, and actually looking at consumers at that point. So this was a first activity that emerged in 2007, and at least influenced the debate in quite a powerful way. And before the PCF World Summit started, we had several what we called dialogue fora on low carbon society, where we took up some of these issues in 2007, say, okay, what is happening in the UK, what other approaches do we see, what does this actually mean? Is this something that is helpful for addressing the broader challenges of climate change, and also to bring climate change down to practical business approaches and to consumers eventually? And this stimulated a lot of thinking and activities. I think this was part of the activities that stimulated our common thinking. But very early on, of course, the common understanding grew that this must be addressed on an international level in terms of we need common international standards. And we all know by now that there are two important internationally worked out standards, the Greenhouse Gas Protocol, which we will hear more about later on, developing into also a product life cycle accounting standard and Scope 3 standard for corporate emissions, and the ISO 14067 standard. And this is, of course, also built on the understanding that we had a first publication of the PAS 2050 and late in October, which was the first actually published standard specifically for carbon footprinting, which has influenced much of the debate. I mean, we have had a lot of these discussions together. There's a lot of changes also implemented, and the notion also grew that all of these standards must be based on accepted life cycle practice as laid out in ISO 14040 and 44, and provide actually a common framework that we can and must be built on, because carbon footprinting is bringing new quality to a lot of the discussions, a lot of the details that are important actually become now clear when we talk about a certain impact category like climate change, and will probably also influence some of the broader thinking around life cycle assessment in general, how also to deal with other impact categories. And I think we see that coming up also, that this will be more addressed in the future. In early 2009, which is 1.5 years ago, it seems like a much longer time, but this is actually when the first PCF World Summit was held here in Berlin, we had still a very, very strong notion in the room, and I still have that, the intensity, kind of, I feel it, and some of you were part of that, where we had like a lot of different initiatives in the room, like from France, UK, Sweden, and Japan, and so on. And in the end, there was this tension. Well, this is too much. What do we do with all of this? And there, the demand was restated again and again. We need someone to take care of this, and without something international, an international framework, this will be very hard to deal with in the future. So I think we had that understanding before, and this still kind of showed the status of the debate in early 2009. The second PCF World Summit later that year in September, I personally had the feeling we had updates on what has happened, and Greenhouse Gas Protocol as well as ISO had advanced along the timeline. Also other activities, more understanding also of each other's activities, and it was a more constructive approach to actually harmonization. We said, okay, well, this is still a huge issue. We need to take care of that, but what can we do? How can we do it practically? And also the discussions there in the open spaces and so on kind of showed, okay, well, people wanted to also contribute more to making that happen, as it was still seen as very, very important, but also as something, okay, well, there must be some way to do it. And the last PCF World Summit in March, the third one, we again updated on many of the developments around carbon footprinting, international standardization, also how is it actually implemented in various areas. The title was Sector Approaches to Product Carbon Footprinting. And there, this was like the theme of the informal theme, kind of. We didn't have it up on the table before, but when we were in the room, everybody was saying, well, what do we do about consumers? We have to get back to thinking about consumers. How do we actually engage with them? How do we actually address that? I mean, we're now getting close to having international standards. We understand that. So we really have to get back to the original idea and objective of engaging with consumers and how to do that. And this we took as the basis for the fourth PCF World Summit that we are at right now, that this is really still, and not still, it's really the important issue that we need to tackle, because actually understanding how we engage with consumers does also shape and influence the tools that we apply to that. And I think we have very powerful tools now available with international product carbon footprint methodologies close to completion, also in a largely harmonized way. And this is a powerful tool to employ, but we have to put more thinking into how do we actually employ the tools to do what we need to do with also consumers, and also, of course, larger communication issues in the value chains among different actors, and so on. So also the understanding of our community here was, it is very helpful to actually have these discussions together and develop it further. And that's why we decided on the second day of the summit to actually dedicate more time to more open discussions, which can be used to actually move the thinking forward, and not just gather input that you all take home and then make something out of it, which I think and I hope usually happens, but to actually have more time together in individual open space tracks. And this will happen tomorrow, that we have more time for that, and with very interesting topics. And I hope that we together can use it to move that issue of consumer understanding and communication in general forward. So what will happen over the this day today and tomorrow? We have an update on the greenhouse gas protocol initiative with the two standards that are going to be published very soon, and very interesting, I think, for our understanding also what has happened in the road testing of the standards. How does this influence our thinking, well, of the standard itself, but also of the broader issues. And all of these initiatives that are up here have been presented before, or have presented before here at the summits also. And I was thinking, okay, well, do we repeat ourselves? But then I was looking at each of them and say, well, just as with the greenhouse gas protocol, in all of the cases, there actually some major things happened. And this was also assured to me, so that we really, like, we have a quality in how we moved forward over the past, well, just 1.5 years or even half a year, which is, I think, very interesting to share. The ISO standard has moved forward in the current version that is employed. We have DG Environment, a presentation on mostly the results and also next steps based on a study around product carbon footprinting that they have conducted, which will influence our common thinking on this. The French environmental labeling scheme is introducing an experimentation phase, which is something we need to learn about, which was not on the table last time. The PAS 2050 is also in a revision process, which in line with the two major international standards now moving to completion. How does this feed back to the PAS 2050, the UK-based standard for carbon footprinting? And we have the Swedish climate certification scheme, which were present at the first PCF World Summit in February last year, and I'm very curious to learn more about what has happened there. Also, I think some significant developments, especially as they are taking a slightly different approach to many of the other initiatives that we see, and how they actually employ the instruments that we have and bring that to consumers. And for us, it's very helpful to have this kind of stimuli also from a bit other perspective, how to actually go about addressing many of these issues. We have Klimatop Heinz Schmid here also, who will present insights into how do actually different initiatives and their underlying methodologies feedback, or what does it actually mean for footprinting certain products. When we look at one product and take it, how are the results actually shaped by the frameworks that we employ? So it will be some insight on comparing the impact of different initiatives, how they reflect on an individual product, in that case beer. And of course, Japan have been here at all of the PCF World Summits, and every time we must say that is very important to take a close look at it. And my understanding is that we often miss a lot of what is happening there, because a lot is happening there, much more than we sometimes expect, and this will definitely help to bring the discussion forward. Quickly, the second day, we're very happy, and at the same time, I hope that it will work out fine with a video keynote by Daniel Goleman. It's pre-recorded, but we will receive it tonight. So I hope that everything will be be fine with that. Daniel Goleman, to many of you known for probably some of his books, not related to ecological issues in the first place, but he has written also a book on ecological intelligence, and taking his thoughts and ideas into our thinking should also prove very valuable, as it provides and also stimuli from a bit other perspective, and provides a broader picture and maybe also feeling for what we're talking about. We'll have a debate on carbon labeling, and we also discussed long about should we do something like that, but we had the feeling always the issue of carbon labeling is kind of taken with us. We have it somewhere in our bag, and without always addressing it heads on, but this is still an issue that is on the table, and we know a lot of people have very strong feelings against carbon labelings, other very strong feelings for carbon labeling. And we said, well, let's do that experiment and bring that issue up heads on and see what is our current understanding of pros and cons. And maybe we have learned some things that are interesting for our debate on that also. And I'm also very much looking forward to that. Then we have the open space tracks, 3 parallel tracks on different issues around broader issues in communication, on transparency along value chains, communication collaboration in the supply chain, and consumer insights, each with input presentations. And I'm very happy with a lot of speakers actually taking the initiative to facilitate and help us facilitate these sessions and to move that forward, and sharing results afterwards. So to come to the end, I would like to again invite you to really use the 2 days for our discussions. And before finally closing off, I just want to make 2 quick remarks on another project that we are involved in. Just for your awareness, we will not have a full presentation like during the 2 days, so I'm using the opportunity to make a quick update on that. Which is the PCF, originally PCF project Germany. Many of you know that it is a cross-stakeholder and also cross-sector, business sector collaboration, which has very intensive work done in carbon footprinting, understanding the challenges, methodologies, and also communication challenges. And the results report was published early last year. We presented that, and this has over time very much also influenced the thinking and understanding in Germany in general. It has been taken up by the German Environmental Ministry in a memorandum, many of the recommendations that were given by the project, and also by the Federation of German Industries that have published a manual on product carbon footprinting, and will shape a lot of the debate that is happening in Germany. And in this project, understanding also grew very much that product carbon footprinting is a tool which has certain very valuable applications, but we always have to get back to the bigger picture. That is, how do we contribute to emission reductions in the value chain, and what does it mean? How do we address emissions in consumption? And so the project evolved into a platform for climate-compatible consumption, and these are the current partners of the platform, different institutes, different companies from very different sectors, which is very valuable for the joint debate on some of the issues, because it is a cross-sector issues, but it has, of course, implications for individual sectors which are sometimes very, very specific. And on November 22nd, we will have a symposium together with the partners on the issue of climate-compatible consumption. How can we tackle it, and what does it mean in Berlin? And this is an announcement for those of you that are able to come and be here in Berlin to come and join us. And the last thing I'm saying is just for your calendar, the current thinking around the 5th PCF World Summit is that we will actually do it in Switzerland. We received the invitation, the friendly invitation to come to Switzerland with our next summit, and we said, well, why not? We are not bound to Berlin in that sense that we couldn't move it. So very likely it will happen in Switzerland, and the current date is 7th and 8th of April 2011, just after an annual meeting of the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, so that there is not conflicting, but some people may use the opportunity to also join. So this is the announcement now. There may be changes, but this is what we currently think about that. So thank you very much, and use and enjoy the next 2 days.